Hello and welcome to the CinemATL podcast for June 2018.
The audio-only version of the CinemATL podcast.
We're doing a special
audio only.
Special audio only. We just thought we'd surprise you. But for those of you who haven't joined us before, the CinemATL podcast is a monthly podcast that examines the world of entertainment through the lens of local Atlanta filmmakers. That would be myself. I am Michael D. Friedman.
And myself. I am Martin Kelly.
Martin Kelly. That's yourself.
That's me.
It's not myself. It's yourself.
Okay.
I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyway, so this month we're just doing audio only. Technical difficulties we've encountered, but yeah.
It's fine.
It's fun to listen. In
fact, I honestly think more people do listen than watch. So.
Yeah, you can do it in your car while you're driving along. Mm-hmm. And you have, your commute. You can listen to the whole podcast on your commute, probably.
Exactly, and I wouldn't recommend you trying to watch it on YouTube while you're commuting if you're driving.
So once again, we'd like to thank everybody for listening, but we also encourage you to keep tweeting us if you have anything that you're working on. We would like to know what local Atlanta filmmakers are doing so that we can share it with everybody else and they can hear what you're up to.
Exactly.
So you can tweet us at CinemATL or myself at Badger33.
Or me at Marte_real1 REELONE.
Yes, and then we encourage you to comment wherever you're listening to this podcast.
Exactly. Wherever you hear this, make comments, and of course share it with your friends as well.
Yeah.
Subscribe.
Hit the bell. Yeah, and this will be up on YouTube, even though we won't have any video with it. But you can listen to us on YouTube as well.
Right. Exactly.
So this month's podcast, like most months, we have a standard lineup. We normally start out with some industry news, where we find out what's going on in Atlanta
and Georgia
in general, and then we'll jump into a top three, which is usually related to the movie review that we will do right after the top three. But this month's top three is top three movies filmed in Georgia.
Okay.
Which relates to the big movie review.
And the big movie review is for Tag. Which was filmed in Georgia. Ironically.
One of two movies that came out last week that was filmed in Georgia.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
Because Superfly also came out.
And we just picked Tag, though.
Yeah, we just wanted to do Tag. And they both got crushed by Incredibles 2, which was not filmed in Georgia.
It could have been.
Technically, was it filmed anywhere? If it's animated?
It's sort of... In the computer world where they did the most of the movie.
And in the internets. And then we will move on after the big movie review to our movie game.
Yeah, the big movie game. The big movie game, I think we're going to call it from now on.
Yeah. It's only big if I win. It's a big upset. But otherwise, yeah. Martin usually wins that, but we have fun playing it.
Definitely.
So anyway, why don't we just jump into some industry news?
Yeah, let's jump into it. So, the industry news, we usually talk about, mainly movies that have been shot in Georgia or Atlanta that are coming out soon. And then we talk about stuff that's actually filming in Georgia and Atlanta. And then every now and then we do, other industry news. But I think this time we're really limiting to just those two topics, I believe.
Pretty much. We have a couple things to remind you guys about at the end.
And industry, like events, film events going on. That's true.
But yeah, so, upcoming in theaters, like we just mentioned, Superfly and Tag just both recently came out. But upcoming, there's several movies on the horizon. The most immediate one is Uncle Drew.
The basketball movie.
Which is, starring Kyrie Irving.
And why didn't we mention? I don't remember us even talking about that
when it was filming. Because I didn't even realize it was filming in Atlanta. But yeah, they shot some of it, at least some of it in Atlanta. But yeah, it's based off of some commercials that came out a couple years back where Kyrie Irving he dresses up in makeup like an old man and then he schools some people on the basketball court. But somehow they're turning that into a feature film.
Yeah, and it's got a big cast.
It's got a big
Tiffany
cast.
Haddish,
Lil Rel,
Howery, and Nick Kroll.
Yeah, and then a whole bunch of NBA stars. So.
Shaq. Who else?
Shaq. you just say Shaq and people show up.
That's right.
He's such a good actor.
Shazam.
Kazam.
Oh, sorry. He should have been Shazam. He would have fared a little better.
Speaking of superheroes, we've mentioned this several times before, but it's coming out sooner than later. Ant-Man and the Wasp, July 6th.
Yeah, so that's the next chapter of Marvel.
Yep.
And I think they've been doing some funny stuff with this TV spots, because they've been referencing Infinity War, of course, and then this is what's next. And of course, I don't think it actually.
It's what's before.
It's what's before, not what's next. But it's kind of funny.
Following that up on August 3rd is Mile 22,
the Mark Wahlberg vehicle.
Which I had actually just found out about this movie today. Peter Berg directed it.
Yeah, I had been following Peter Berg on the social medias, and he had been posting a lot from Atlanta. So that is the movie. I didn't realize until recently that was the movie it was directing.
Yeah. It's an action film about something about them having to get a guy out of sneak a guy out of the country. Right. I don't know which country they're sneaking him out of, but Atlanta is not. It doesn't take place in Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly. Atlanta's not that country, but it's doubling for it.
Another film that we mentioned before that will be coming out, and now we're getting a little bit later, in 2018 is September 21st. We have House with a Clock in Its Walls, starring Jack Black.
Right.
Eli Roth directed. And then Night School follows that up a week later, September 28th. And
yet another Kevin Hart movie shot in Atlanta.
If you've been watching any sort of sporting event in the past month, you've seen commercials ad nauseum for that, probably.
Yes, definitely. They alternate between the Night School commercials and then the Kevin Hart commercials for the Kickstarter.
Yeah, which Kevin Hart commercial are you going to watch in this commercial break? And then and we've mentioned Venom a couple times on here. That's coming out on October 5th. They released another trailer for it. Still doesn't look very good to me, but it's got a good cast.
It's got a really good cast, but I haven't seen the second trailer, I don't think. So.
And then, speaking of trailers, the first trailer came out for First Man, which comes out on October 12th.
Oh, nice. I did not know that.
And that stars Ryan Gosling.
It's the Neil Armstrong biopic.
Neil Armstrong, directed by Damien Chazelle.
Right.
Who did La La Land with Ryan Gosling.
Wow.
So that's coming up.
Cool.
So that's your schedule for upcoming stuff. And then don't forget, we went in October with the movies. A bunch of TV shows will be premiering their new seasons in September as well. So there's a lot of those.
A lot of television being shot here now, for sure. But what's being shot here right now? On our list, we have the vehicle for it's sort of the reboot, right, or the reimagining of what women want. It's now called What Men Want.
What Men Want. Taraji P. Henson
of Empire fame
is on the docket to play the lead role in this. It's
and Hidden Figures fame.
Yeah.
Speaking of Atlanta movies,
there you go. More Atlanta ties. But yeah, so that's kind of, I don't know if it's this really it's like a thematic sequel to it, or if it's a reboot, or if it's just a
I think it's
one-off.
I think it's just a reboot, kind of.
So if you like the original, I guess you might like this one.
You might.
I didn't like the original, but
I don't remember much about the original. It was amicable.
It was popular at the time. I just didn't care for it. Another film coming or shooting now is Stuber.
Stuber? What's Stuber?
Stuber. It's a Dave Bautista film.
Oh, okay.
And basically, I think he plays a detective or a spy who basically drags his Uber driver along on a dangerous mission for a night of craziness.
Wow, so like a little bit like the Tom Cruise vehicle.
Kind of like the Collateral.
Yeah.
But I think it's supposed to be played more for laughs and action than the Collateral.
Probably. Because he's certainly a big actor, as in, except for when he was in he was very subdued in Blade Runner 2049. But everything else, he's not subdued. Like I haven't seen Artemis Hotel, but he's very prominent in the trailer for that, and he's very big.
Big, appropriate.
I don't mean like that. I don't mean like that.
Guy.
He is a big guy, but he's a big character too.
And then another film that's, I don't think it's actually shooting yet, but it's been announced, is a Jungle Cruise with our old friend The Rock.
Yes, Dwayne Johnson, and we did. I think we mentioned this once before about Jungle Cruise, but yes, it's
based off the Disney
ride,
theme park ride. And no word if Kevin Hart is in that or not.
Maybe he makes a cameo. He might make a cameo. That would be good.
And then
there's a movie called After being shot, and there's no like big names of note, but it is a YA film. So it's like a YA romance based on a book. So it's
YA stands for young adult. A lot of people, like I got trashed for using that term before. Apparently people don't understand that it means young adult.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just going to spell it out. Young adult.
I didn't want to say teen because I don't think it's really, they don't like to call it teen anymore.
If you go to Barnes & Noble, they've got a YA section. It says YA.
Exactly.
So I'm not crazy, or we're not crazy when we say YA, but just in case people out there don't know what YA means, it means it's not ya.
Right. It's, I mean, obviously this is a popular genre lately, in the vein of some of the titles.
Hunger Games, Twilight.
I don't think it's that type.
Allegiant.
I think it's more of a drama romance.
Okay, then Spectacular Now, Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl.
See, I don't even think those were, but I think you're on the right track.
Paper Towns.
Paper Towns is a good example.
I have not read
Everything, for example. So.
I'm not a huge reader, but I did read The Hunger Games, so I was attracted by young adult fiction.
Yeah, young adult fiction and that was young adult fiction action though, kind of like that and Divergent and stuff.
So after this, this is not an action. This is more about. I'm guessing it doesn't say for sure. I'm guessing it's drama romance. A young woman falls for a guy with a dark secret, and the two embark on a rocky relationship. That could be action too, though. Wow, I mean, it could be action. It could be action, but I mean, now I'm intrigued. And then on the TV side, Watchmen is actually shot the pilot for this in Macon actually, and it's a new Watchmen movie, right? It's HBO series. It's already been greenlit. Mm-hmm. And Damon Lindelof of Lost and Leftovers fame is the showrunner. So,
and he's written a lot about it recently. He's been, I guess, what do they say? He's been doing it like an open letter to fans to try and reassure them that he's not just retreading, the movie or. Yeah, well, from what I heard, it's like it's not even the character. It's like just based in that Watchmen universe. In the universe, right? So, I mean, that sounds fairly interesting. Which is, even though it's a DC comic, it's not set in the DC universe. For those of you not familiar with comic book universes. Well, speaking of DC universes, actually, another television show that is filming. Yes. Is Doom. What is it? Doom Patrol. And it's literally part of the DC universe because it's going to be playing on the DC Universe digital platform. Oh, what? Which is its own, they were doing their thing. Yep, it's their own streaming service. Interesting. So it's going to be their tentpole TV show on the DC Universe digital channel. Are you familiar with this comic? Because I had never heard the title. I have heard the title. I'm not familiar with the comic. But then again, I'm more of a Marvel fan than a DC fan, so it doesn't surprise me. But I know there are fans of it, but yeah, I'm not really familiar with it. I think it was more popular like back, actually, when I was growing up reading comics in the 80s and early 90s. But it kind of sounds familiar, like, because the description is about outcast superheroes, right? Mm-hmm. A collection of outcast superheroes, which is a little bit like Suicide Squad. A little bit, yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like weird that's their tentpole, but okay. Well, I mean, yeah. Who knows what he's doing? But, I have no idea. They greenlit another Joker movie with Jared Leto, and they're still doing the other Joker movie. They're doing two Joker movies. What?
With two different characters.
That's crazy.
Two different actors. So who knows what... I have no idea what DC is doing.
That's crazy. They're just crazy.
But yeah. Anyway, so that's what's filming in Atlanta and Georgia in general. If you're interested in any of these and becoming part of the production, we encourage you to go to the Georgia Help Wanted hotline.
Yep. At georgia.org.
Yeah, go to georgia.org, and there's information on productions that are hiring and other ways to get in contact with.
Sure, and even some of you can be an extra in some of these listings, but some of them you can be crew, and so you really get to know how movies get done.
Mm-hmm. So look there, and then if you are interested in some other film events are going on upcoming. We mentioned both of these last week, but we just wanted to remind, or last month. I keep thinking we're a weekly podcast, but we're a monthly podcast. We mentioned them last month, and in fact, we had
Kenny Blank
from the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival join us to talk about Cinebash.
Right, featuring the work of Saul Bass.
Yeah. And that's coming up on June 23rd.
Right.
So there's still time.
If you're an early listener of this podcast.
Yeah. And then another one that's coming right around the corner is the 48-Hour Film Project, which is will be happening on the weekend of June 29th through July 1st.
Okay. And
then the screenings will be the following week, July 10th through the 11th.
Wow. Okay. That is coming fast. So
yeah.
Check that out and join in. There's still time to join in, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll be signing up people the kickoff event if you still are interested. So
cool.
But yeah.
And then I heard there's a CinemATL podcast related event coming in.
Oh yeah. I was going to mention this at the end, but okay. we can mention it now. I'd like to give them some love.
We can talk about it at the end again.
We'll do it twice because we like them so much. But the as I call them, the CinemATL podcast house band, Eureka Failure, has an album release party on June 23rd, which is the Saturday coming up.
Where's it happening?
It's happening at the Star Bar.
Cool. What time?
I don't know, but there's several bands playing.
Okay.
And they're all a good band, good local Atlanta bands. And they'll be celebrating the release of their CD, Trapper Keeper.
Yeah, that's right, Trapper Keeper.
So
awesome.
We encourage you to check them out. And like they said, get your babysitter now, and then be ready for it. All right. Well, that's all the news that's fit to print, as they say,
or fit to spit.
Fit the spit. Fit the podcast. And so we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about our top three.
Top three.
All right.
So top three this month. The top three is top three movies filmed in Georgia.
Yes.
Cool.
Top three. Our favorite movies that were filmed in Georgia.
And I'm gonna have to caveat this is that I think I may have missed something just because I'm running on low energy and low I think I might be missing something. But these are just the ones that came to mind for me.
Okay. Well, why don't we start? We'll just start from the bottom up, and we'll name our top three, and then we'll discuss after that.
Absolutely.
So, for your number three.
Number three for me is an oldie, relatively old, and it's not his best film by any stretch, but it's certainly an entertaining film. School Days, Spike Lee.
Oh.
And he filmed that in Georgia, in Morehouse, Spelman, the Atlanta University system there. Set, of course, in historically black college. And, it's a fun movie, and it's early in his career. It's right before Do the Right Thing. It's right after his breakout. And I really liked the movie a lot. So it's made my top three.
All right.
And it's not in the new wave, right, of the recent movies shot in Atlanta.
No, it's not. But my number three is, and it's kind of representative of all the Marvel movies that are shot here, but
Okay.
it's my favorite of the Marvel movies that have been shot here, which is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Okay.
I can go into details about that later, but
Sure,
it's
sure.
really more about a nod to all. I didn't want to put like a bunch of Marvel movies on my list, but
I didn't want to put too many on either. Yeah. Yeah.
Number 2.
Number 2, a Marvel affiliated movie, I guess you call it, is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Spider-Man: Homecoming. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a Marvel
It's
Universe,
a Marvel Universe movie.
It's not
Right.
a Marvel Studio
Sure,
movie.
it's a Sony picture.
Well,
but
it's in collaboration with Marvel
sure,
Studios. So
I
guess,
get it. I'm just saying, it's not true Marvel. It's not like all Marvel.
But yeah, no, that's a good movie too. And that was probably like bumping up for my number 3 as well.
Okay.
Number 2 for me is kind of an older movie. Remember the Titans.
Oh, see, now that's certainly one that might have made my list if it had come to mind.
Yeah, well, it's a little bit older, but you
Absolutely.
know, so it's like I actually had to like look at a list and say, oh yeah, that did film here. So it was
Right.
like, it wasn't on the top of my mind.
And it truthfully, it wasn't on the list that I was working
Yeah.
from, and so it didn't register because I really like that movie a lot. So it probably would have made my list. And so
All right. So number 1,
number 1 is
drum roll,
Prisoners,
Prisoners.
which is a tough movie. I mean, it's a tough movie, but it's a really good movie.
I don't even think I've seen Prisoners.
Oh, what's the name? We didn't like his second movie for sure. We really-
Denis
Villeneuve.
I was just having a discussion about Denis Villeneuve.
Villeneuve.
The other
This
day,
is
but no.
his first prominent movie, and it was filmed here in Georgia. In fact, yeah, it was filmed here, and a couple of local actors had some pretty good supporting roles in it.
Cool.
But it's a really
I've never
good
seen
film.
it. I'll have to check it out.
It's a really good film, and it's very it's a tough movie though. It's not like an entertaining one.
Well, I mean, yeah. The conversation I was having about Denis Villeneuve was that I don't tend to really. I appreciate what he's trying to do, but I don't
Sure.
necessarily really like his movies.
Got
Because
it.
even like Blade Runner 2049, it was awesome visually and everything else, but it just wasn't.
Right.
Didn't do it for me for a movie.
Right.
Anyway, don't want to go too far off tangent. My number 1 is drum roll. Baby Driver.
Baby Driver. See, now that was one that was close, but it was so recent. I felt like I
Yeah,
didn't
the
want
main reason that I'm gonna put it at number 1 is that it is Atlanta. So it's like it's about Atlanta. It was filmed in Atlanta.
Sure.
It was just it's like almost like a love letter to Atlanta. So, and I just really liked the movie. I thought it was really good.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Very good movie.
Yeah, but and so I had some other like honorable mentions.
Sure.
I was gonna I wanted to put I, Tonya on there. I thought that was really good, and
Absolutely.
that crept in there some. So
Hidden Figures was also a recent, really
Yeah.
well done movie that was filmed here.
and I had another one. I can't remember what it was now, but that I was like really competing, trying to figure out whether I could get it on the list or not. But I can't remember what it is now.
And there's a lot. There's a lot.
There's a ton of movies.
I mean,
now.
these are just like we say. This
Yeah.
is just happens to be our top 3.
I mean, Free Jack. I mean, I'm just kidding about that.
Yes, don't forget
Fled.
Free Jack and Pet Cemetery too.
It's really funny how far we've gone, because I remember when we started, like in doing our own films and stuff like that, the movies you would bring up as being shot in Atlanta was stuff like Free Jack,
Yeah, exactly.
and Fled, and
even like Cannonball Run.
yeah,
We were still talking about that. Invasion USA.
yeah. So we've come a long way. Come a long way since then.
Absolutely.
But so yeah, so just I guess to just further discuss our picks. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of Marvel movies to choose from. I was thinking about Infinity War, putting that up there. Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
I recently watched Black Panther again, and I was even more impressed with it than the first time I saw it in the theater. And it's just impressive, just based off the scope and the cast that's in that movie.
Sure,
it's ridiculous.
absolutely.
But my favorite Marvel is Guardians of the Galaxy. I just like the style of it. I like James Gunn's direction.
I mean, but see, the thing about it is Guardians 1 wasn't shot here.
Yes, that's
my
why
favorite Guardian.
that would be, yes. If it was shot here, it would supersede Volume 2.
Right, and Volume 2 is cool. I
yeah.
like it a lot, but I like 1 better, which is
Yeah.
kind of why I didn't put 2 on my list.
Yeah,
Just
the technicality.
But, absolutely.
And then your number 3, which was School Days.
School Days.
You talked about it.
Yeah, I talked a lot about it. I mean, Spike Lee was sort of emerging at the time,
Yeah.
and it was a really different movie. Like, it was certainly not the type of movie that was playing in theaters a lot.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, really just appreciate that film a lot.
Number 2 for me, again, was Remember the Titans, and that's just a quintessential sports movie for me. It's like,
absolutely.
like whenever it's on TV, you turn it on. It's got that. Talk about a good cast that like people that like Ryan Gosling's in it.
Oh,
like
yeah.
is a really young Ryan Gosling's in it, and Hayden Panettiere is like the little girl in it. It's like amazing, like that. And it's just it's a fun, engaging story, but it's also a historical drama that tells an important story, I think, as well.
It does, and it is a very effective sort of tearjerker in certain ways, for sure.
And it's got Denzel in it, so I mean,
Yeah.
It's Denzel.
I expect you to be perfect. We will be perfect.
And then, so number 2 for you was
Spider-Man Homecoming, which to me is the funnest, I guess, recent Marvel movie.
I mean, Marvel's really been on a roll recently,
Absolutely.
because like their last 4 films. Well, if you talk about Black Panther, Infinity War, Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, those have all been like really good.
Yeah, they've been really good.
Like, I mean,
and so the only thing Ant-Man can do is mess it up or keep it rolling.
yeah, hopefully.
And Ant-Man, was a fun movie in and of itself, and it was shot.
Ant-Man was partially shot here.
Shot here, yeah. But
mainly shot here,
but yeah, I mean, Spider-Man, it embodies. We talked about it a little bit before. It embodies some of the stuff that I really like in movies that people that haven't been really done a lot, which is like universal cast.
Yeah,
really fun. I didn't really think I would like another Spider-Man.
Yeah.
This is the 3rd iteration of it within
yeah,
a short time period.
it's 2000.
Yeah.
And until Infinity War, it probably had the best villain of like the most complete, fleshed out villain of any Marvel movie, which I really appreciated. So, and then of course number 1 for me was Baby Driver, and like I said, most of the reason behind that. It's interesting though to me that Baby Driver was one of my favorite movies that came out last year, and it's just, the fact that it's just Atlanta through and through is just the icing on the cake. It's just really a well done movie. I love Edgar Wright. I love his movies.
Absolutely.
The cast is really great in it. The music's great in it. The choreography of everything in it. It's just really just a well done movie. It gets a little demerit now because of Kevin Spacey's involvement, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that's associated with it, but other than that, it's like, to me, it was a really good movie.
Nah, definitely, and that's certainly one of the ones I was thinking about, but I was like, I don't want to put something so recent on it.
Yeah,
and so I kind of, even though I did put, Spider-Man number 2, which is recent.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's great how we've gotten such more better stuff coming through that it was easy for me to name some movies right at the top of my head. Right. A lot of them just came out last year, like I was saying, like I, Tonya, and just movies like that are just like really well done movies, really critically acclaimed movies. And the fact that we're getting that work here is great. So.
And my number 1 is Prisoners. Again, it's not the fun movie like some of these other ones we were talking about, but it's definitely a really good movie and well done, and it's very effective. Very effective.
I will check it out, despite the fact that
if you like Hugh Jackman, he really does a wonderful job in the film.
Okay. Now that you mentioned Hugh Jackman was in it, I do remember this movie now. I didn't when you first named it. I was like, I've never even heard of this movie, but now I remember it. It's just okay.
It's got Jake Gyllenhaal.
I just did it for. It's just one of those movies that, like, if you hadn't seen it, it's not. It doesn't really have a memorable title.
Exactly.
It didn't really have.
And probably this stuck out because it was on TV recently, and I watched it again. So that's probably why it stuck out a little more for me.
And I heard good things about it when it came out, so I'll definitely check it out then.
So that's the top three.
Top three. So,
and again, obviously, you asked us next month, we probably would say something different.
Yeah,
But I'm just saying.
I had trouble putting together the top three right now. So
and we both looked at different lists, and that probably affected it, because I didn't even remember the Titans on the list.
So let's just recap. My top three were at number 1, Baby Driver, number 2, Remember the Titans, number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
And my top three, number 1, Prisoners, number 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, and number 3, School Days.
All right, well, let's go talk about that other Atlanta movie, Tag. All right, Tag, you're it.
You're it.
You're it. Talk about this movie.
Okay, Tag is a movie. Based on a true story.
Based on a true story. So, yes. So, this month's big review is Tag. And for those of you who might not be familiar with it, it is based on a true story. And it's about a group of guys who've played a 30-year game of tag.
Yeah.
Now, it's loosely based off of a true story.
Sure.
I tried to read. It's based off actually a Wall Street Journal article. Mm-hmm. That I tried to read, but it's behind a paywall, so I couldn't get the true nitty-gritty details. But apparently in real life, there are 10 guys that participate in this, and they whittled it down to 5 for the movie.
Right.
They take a lot of other liberties as well.
Absolutely.
But, it's a comedy starring Ed Helms, John Hamm, Jake Johnson, Hannibal Buress, and Jeremy Renner. Mm-hmm. And the concept, basically, besides the fact that they're playing tag, is that Jeremy Renner's character has never been tagged. He's never been it. And they're trying to... He's threatening to retire and undefeated. And
their mission is to tag him before he can go out undefeated.
Yeah, and then sometimes the rules, they only play like once a month. The 1 month out of every year. Mm-hmm. And it's the idea is that they'll go cross country to tag somebody. It's an interesting concept.
Sure.
It's a fun
Absolutely.
concept. The real life people has inspired it. I think it's amazing that they've been doing this since like high school and stuff like that. So, it's directed by Jeff Tomsic, who has really done a lot of TV work. So I think this is his first major movie. And then the writer's the same. One of them was credited with writing Waiting, the Ryan Reynolds movie. But
yeah.
The other one they mainly come from that comedy realm of like Idiot Sitter and The Detour, some of the more Comedy Central / Turner stuff that's been not well known stuff, but it's got its fan base.
Absolutely.
And you could see that with some of the minor characters are in it, are a lot in some of those TV shows. I didn't even
think about that. Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, that's the synopsis of it. So what did you think about the film?
It's hot and cold. It's hot and cold. I think there was a lot. There was a really good cast. It's a really good cast. And then I really enjoyed the use of hip hop music in the film.
Well, not just hip hop music.
A lot,
just
others.
Music in general. I was going to mention that as well. The soundtrack I love the soundtrack to this movie.
Yes.
Like, in fact, when we were trying to come up with top 3 ideas, I thought about maybe we could do a top 3 movie soundtracks. Maybe we'll do that some other time.
Yeah.
But the soundtrack really dragged me.
Yeah, and it's not just hip hop, but there's a
lot of hip hop in it.
That they did use.
There's a lot of stuff that calls back to the early '90s and
absolutely.
Which I guess is like when they started playing the game in the film, so that's why it's. And there's the Crash Test Dummies song that's like really pretty prominent in the film.
Well, in the opening, and then they reuse it, is certainly an appropriate song for the title of the movie, "Run" from Far Side. That's can't keep running away. It's part of the theme of the movie.
Yeah, like you said, it's got a really good cast. It does kind of run hot and cold though. Like there's some stuff that really is really funny in it, and then there's some jokes that just don't hit the mark. But you want to go. To me, I still enjoyed the movie overall because I wanted to go along for the ride because the actors are such fun. Mm-hmm. They make it fun.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And there's huge supporting cast to this. According, also like the women that are involved with the story as well.
I mean, Isla Fisher's
immensely
talented.
Yeah,
Rashida Jones.
Yeah, and then Nora Dunn, who plays
Dunn. She's Helms' great as
mom,
Ed Helms' mother, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, so it's got a really good cast, and a lot of the jokes are really good. There's funny action sequences for a comedy.
I think that's one of the best stuff is the sort of action sequences.
Especially Jeremy Renner narrating what he's going to do while he's trying to avoid these people. Like, he knows every single move they're going to make.
That was the most fun parts of the movie, I think.
But yeah, but then there's some stuff that doesn't work quite well.
Yeah.
In fact, and I think, so one of the things is also, I also feel like the movie has a lot of heart to it, because it's all about trying to keep the kids together.
There's
like
that big flaw in the movie that I think undermines that.
So I don't know.
I mean, but we'll talk about that in spoilers. We'll talk a little bit more. Let's talk a little bit more surface before we start talking about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some stuff that they take a little too far, which distracts from the heart. Like, it could have been a really heartfelt film, and it still feels like that, especially at the end, the way it wraps up at the end. I think it still feels it's about being a kid and not growing up to, like, not getting rid of that spirit.
It's that saying they even at the very beginning of the movie they say it's like you don't.
Benjamin Franklin quote, which not Benjamin Franklin.
So-called Benjamin Franklin quote. You don't grow old. You don't stop playing because you grow old. You grow old because you stop playing.
Yes. Yeah. Which Benjamin Franklin did not apparently did not say.
Sounds like something he could say.
But it also, it's also about keeping friendships and making sure that that type of thing. Before we get into spoilers, one of the things we talked about right before the podcast was it was interesting that this film, was shot in Atlanta, and a lot of times you see in these some of the smaller parts, you see some of the same familiar faces, and there were a few in here, but it was kind of amazing to me that some of these minor roles were really filled by famous, pretty famous people. Like Thomas Middleditch has got a little bit in it, and then Rel is in it, and just one-off parts that normally be given to so it's like kind of interesting
it's almost
disappointing.
Almost disappointing because I was hoping to see friends of ours in small roles, which usually happens. But at the same time, it was interesting to see how much this script must have resonated to have all this talent in the movie.
Well, it really looked like they were having fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was fun with music, like, hey, if it doesn't hit the mark all the time, at least it feels like they're having fun doing the movie. Right. And I really like Jake Johnson, who's I think is underrated. He's they did Let's Be Cops. He was in that. I liked him in that, but mainly I liked him from the show New Girl. But as far as movies, he's always kind of more of a supporting character, but I really like him. I thought he was one of the standout performances as a comedian.
He was very good.
John Hamm was good. I mean, he plays more of a straight role in it, but he's got some parts in it that are pretty funny, especially when he starts acting a little bit more like a kid. It's also funny that all of these people are Atlanta regulars now.
Definitely.
Ed Helms was here doing Father Figures. John Hamm was his Baby Driver. And some other. What else was he in? Something else recently. Baby Driver. Jake Johnson. Let's Be Cops was shot here. Right. Jeremy Renner, Hawkeye from all the Marvel stuff. Definitely. And then Hannibal Buress is I think is he from here?
I don't know. I don't know if he's from here.
But, I mean, he's done. I mean, it's just crazy how many these people. It's almost like they want to keep working in Atlanta,
which is great to see that they keep coming back and it speaks to what we talked about earlier, which is how far Atlanta has come. It's just regular to have all these people here all the time.
Yeah. And of course, this is the movie. This is the movie that Jeremy Renner broke both of his arms.
Yeah, not on the Marvel.
Not on the Marvel movies, which is some people are saying that might be why he wasn't in Infinity War, was because he was probably recovering from injuries from this. Because apparently, he actually wore casts. He broke his arms on the third day of shooting, and then for the rest of the film, he had casts on his arms, and they green screened them. They green screened his casts. So they digitally removed the cast.
Digitally removed the cast and put back to his normal arm. width or
That's
whatever.
so crazy. It's I don't know. But yeah, so they had to deal with that. That was interesting. But yeah. So I mean, before we go into a little bit more spoiler talk, so what was your overall grade be?
I guess my overall was probably a B. Yeah,
I'd say B too.
Yeah.
It's a fun enough movie.
Sure.
And I also think it's going to be one of those movies that's going to get a little bit more traction when it gets released on DVD and
HBO or whatever. Yeah.
Because it was kind of buried beneath Incredibles, and then Ocean's 8 came out like right before it.
Right.
So I was reading an article about that. It was kind of bad timing because it's like the top 3 movies last week were Incredibles, Ocean's 8, and this, and it's like they're all comedies, but Incredibles has, the family animated comedy, and Ocean's 8's got the female-led comedy, and so this was just a comedy.
Comedy. Right.
But yeah, I think it underwhelmed. It didn't really underwhelm that much at the box office. It did about what they expected, but I think it'll gain new life later on.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was unfortunate timing for them.
But okay, so as far as the part of the problems we have with it, so spoilers for those of you that
Definitely
don't want to get through,
because we're going to be talking deep into.
So what was your issue?
Well, it's not so much that it was an issue, but I think storytelling, the end, would resonate more if we knew about it ahead of time. Instead of it's not the type of thing that is like a plot twist. You know what I mean? That's like a pull a fast one, like a now you see me type of thing, right? This would have resonated. It would have made the the idea of wanting that last connection with your friends even more powerful if we would have known the end. If we would have known it, you know what I mean.
So we're in spoiler zone now, so we can mention that we're mentioning a spoiler, but we're not saying what it is. But yeah, the Ed Helms character is basically made up the thing about Jeremy Renner's character.
Yeah, and instead, the reason it might be the last tag game is because he may be dying.
Yeah.
And so that came out of left field at the very end of the movie, and the movie would have resonated a lot more. The heart part of it would have resonated a lot more if we would have known that ahead of time. Is my opinion.
I don't know about that. I mean, I can understand. It did feel kind of out of left field, but I don't know about if we knew about it the whole time. It might just be a downer. It might not be as fun.
It's maybe there was some allusion to it that got taken out of the movie.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe it was a little bit alluded to a little bit more, and like we didn't know what was going on with him, but we knew something was going on with him. Like he wasn't quite telling the truth about Jeremy Renner's character or something like that, but we didn't know why he wasn't. To make that a little bit more powerful instead of being more from left field. I mean, I think it still kind of worked, but it didn't work as well as it could have.
I think. Yeah.
My issue with the film that it kind of lost some of that heart, feel good thing was I think it took a step too far a couple times with some of the jokes. Like the whole thing about her faking a miscarriage was like, even when he's talking about it, it's like really uncomfortable. Like, oh, she fakes a miscarriage. It's like, you don't know if she did or not. And it's really touchy. I mean, even the characters are saying, oh, you can't, that was kind of like I think they tried to throw in too much shock value. Like it's not a raunchy comedy, but they tried to throw in some of that stuff that might have fit in a raunchy comedy.
Yeah.
But it felt weird to me. It felt uncomfortable to me. Even when I was in the theater, like people were sitting around me that I could tell they were feeling uncomfortable about it. Yeah. Making a joke about a miscarriage and stuff like that. And then also the scene where they're trying to waterboard somebody and you're like, the waterboarding is a pretty serious thing. And they make a joke about like, oh, how close they're getting to the edge of this. But it goes from being, hey, this is a fun movie about these guys playing tag to like, is one of these guys going to cross the line at some point? Like, I mean, even like some of the contraptions that Jeremy Renner sets up to like, is he going to like actually end up hurting somebody? Like,
that log would really kill somebody.
Exactly.
Honestly.
But you could play, I could see you easily doing this movie and playing it the dark side of this movie. Like one guy takes it way too far. And
it was like, it was on on the verge of very bad things.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? In a way, in some of those cases, which took away from the
just took away from the heart of it. Like
sure.
I felt like I think it could have been a little bit more. I think if they just would have taken a step back from just trying to do these shock things to more about doing more clever ways of them trying to tag each other instead of trying to do.
I agree. I think it's a valid point that you make too on that.
Yeah.
But I mean, so that's the thing. I think they wanted it both ways, and they just couldn't get it both ways, right? And so, it worked more. And one other thing I'll say about spoilery is that they actually said they actually said what they wanted you to feel about the movie a little too much. Like, this is a way we keep together. Yeah. They said it like 7 times, almost. It's like, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
It's a way you keep it, you keep in each other's lives. I'm like, you said it before. We don't need to hear it again.
And the other thing that I could say about this movie, and it didn't bother me, but I could see it might be bothersome to some other people, is that the women are very supporting characters. There are several female roles, and it's like it passes the Bechdel test, but do they really provide much? I mean, there's like a rule in there that no women are allowed to play because they were, when they did it, they were in ninth grade or whatever, or 8th grade or whatever. But still, it does feel almost forced. It almost felt like they were trying to put the female characters in these supporting roles, but not have them be part of the group.
And they do disappear at times. I mean, they are the ones who disappear quite a bit.
Yeah, there's one scene where, I can never say her name right. Isla Fisher. Mm-hmm. I could have sworn she was with a group, and then all of a sudden she's not there. Yeah. And then she pulls up in a van later, and you're like where did she go?
How did she not? Yeah, because the way they set it up is like she's going for
she's all gung ho about everything.
Yeah, she's part of this mission,
all of a sudden
she's not there.
Yeah, it was weird. Okay. Yeah. So that kind of felt awkward to me. Like almost like it almost felt forced.
And then the woman who plays the reporter disappears at times too. It's like, is she really there to cover the story? Because she doesn't see some of the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, okay, all right.
Well, they changed that from the actual writer of the Wall Street Journal was a man, and wasn't highly involved in the story. Right. They added that into the thing, but then and I just wish they would have spent a little bit more time with trying to make more clever ways of them trying to tag each other, because that's where to me the fun of the movie is, and where you could really build the heart of the story. And I really felt it because they show. At the end of the movie, they actually show the real guys, and they're recording themselves like trying to tag people, and it's funny. It's it's cute. It's you're like, oh, this is really sweet.
Right.
And I don't think there was enough of that. But
I agree.
Okay, well,
but overall,
I enjoyed it.
It was funny.
It's a flawed but fun film.
Yeah, it's funny, and it's tremendous use of music.
Yeah,
I mean, I really
you get one thing out of it. Yeah, And then the end credit. Did you stay for the end credits where they actually like singing the Crash Test Dummy song? Did you see that?
Oh, I didn't stay for the very end.
Yeah, wow. they're like the Crash Test, and it's Jeremy Renner singing the song, and then the other guys pop up, and there's like it's done in black and white and all serious. It's
nice.
It's pretty hilarious.
I should have stayed all the way through. I thought the tag was the real people.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah. So that's it for the review. Yeah. I know we went a little spoiler into it, but to really discuss it, you have to like talk about it.
You have to.
Sometimes you just have to just break it.
I think people expect that from us.
I think they do too. So, I mean, even the stuff we talk about, it's not going to ruin the movie for you if you watch it. It's not like the snapping fingers thing.
No.
All right. Well, that's it for the movie review. Normally we go into a technique topic, but
it looks like
because of our special audio only version, we're
not going to do it this time. And I think we're a little over again, over on some of what we did.
We like to talk sometimes.
So the movie game.
The movie game, yes.
And so a little explanation of it. Basically, the movie game, if you haven't heard us before or you haven't played the movie game yourself, it's basically a movie chain.
Yes.
One of us will name an actor or a film title, and the other person has to name either the film title for the actor or an actor for the film title. And we keep that going until somebody can't name.
Somebody misses.
And then we do usually
first to two wins. And there's two other minor rules: is that you can't name a movie or actor twice in the same chain.
Right.
You can, however, name sequels.
Yes.
Or prequels or other things like that. And then you can also challenge if you think that your opponent
can't name another element.
If they're trying to stump you, but you think they would stump themselves, you can you can challenge. So that's it. And then also the other rule is that Martin wins usually.
It's not a hard and fast rule. It's not a hard and fast rule.
Okay, well, I've got the IMDb page up on my screen. I'm not going to look at it, but just in case we need to verify.
Okay.
It's there. So let's why don't
kick
you
it
start?
off.
Why don't you go?
I'll start. Let's see. How about Red Corner?
Red Corner. Oh, Jesus. Red Corner. Who was in Red Corner? Was Richard Gere in Red Corner?
Good.
Okay.
Good job.
Richard Gere.
Okay, Richard Gere.
Don't want to be aced here.
Primal Fear.
Oh, Edward Norton.
Edward Norton. How about The Italian Job?
Charlize Theron.
Atomic Blonde.
John Goodman.
The Big Lebowski.
Steve Buscemi.
Okay. Trees Lounge.
Danny Trejo.
Oh, good. Okay. Heat.
Val Kilmer.
Top Gun.
Tom Cruise.
American Made.
Oh, Donald Gleason.
Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Let's see. John Boyega.
The Circle.
The Circle. Natalie Portman.
Sorry.
No.
Emma Watson.
Oh.
Directed by James Ponsoldt.
Tom Hanks is
Georgia
in it, right?
native. Correct. Yes.
I just blanked on who that was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. You're thinking Annihilation.
I knew the movie. I didn't see the movie, but I knew it.
You knew it.
And I knew it was Emma. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, that's good. You got me. All right. So, I will start. How about let's do Ocean's 8.
Ocean's 8. Kate Blanchett.
Thor Ragnarok.
Okay. Tessa Thompson.
Oh my God, you're gonna get me on that one, I think.
You know.
I know, but I don't know. Oh, I know this, but I don't. Oh, I'm drawing a blank though.
Serious?
We just talked about this actually. I think recently, like in another podcast. I think
we talked about it not so recently. Not so recently.
Geostorm.
No.
You're
thinking Zazie Beetz. She's in Creed.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
The Creed 2 trailer came out today.
I didn't see the Creed 2 trailer, but
we both liked Creed a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's two. Sorry.
It's two where I mixed up an actress.
I know. You're thinking Zazie Beetz.
I was. Well, I mean because we were just talking about that.
Geostorm, right? She was in Geostorm.
She was in Geostorm. Yeah.
Yeah, as well as Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
But no, that was not Tessa Thompson.
Well,
sorry. It's okay. The first round was good.
I think we should do a speed round where you have to name it in 15 seconds or less.
Yeah, that might be tough.
Just bam, 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 bam,
Right.
bam.
Right. It would be so obvious, like, because we the only name
Tom Cruise,
movies
Tom
with-
Hanks.
Yeah, exactly.
What's his Tom? All right. Yeah, so that's it. Martin wins yet again. But yeah, if you like the movie game, play it with your friends. It's fun.
Or challenge us.
Yeah, challenge us to I don't know how we do it, but
How about this? Here's the
do a
challenge.
movie off.
If you're going to be filming a movie, because this is the way the movie game came, it was played a lot on sets, right? And that's how we came to know it and love it. If you're doing a film in Atlanta and you want to challenge us, invite us to your set, and one of us, or maybe both of us, will come and play the movie game with you if you give us advance notice.
Sounds good. I like that idea. We've got sound recording, field recording.
A field recorder, that's
out
right.
on a set.
So what did we say was filming recently?
I don't know,
like after. So if you're filming, you want
if you're The Rock and you're working on Jungle
exactly.
Cruise.
I know
and
The
you
Rock
want
is
to-
competitive.
Alright,
I think
yeah.
he'll want to play this with us.
Or if Dave Bautista wants to invite us out to the Stuber set.
Sounds good to me. I think that's what we need to do. We need to do.
We'll bring the movie game.
Bring the movie game to the people.
to the masses. We try. All right, well, that's it for a special audio-only version of the CinemATL podcast.
Thanks for listening.
We'd like to once again thank Eureka Failure for providing the music for this month's podcast and every month's podcast.
And don't forget their brand new album, Trapper Keeper, coming out with their release party.
It's actually already out, so you can actually download it right now. Get familiar with the music.
Then
go to the Star
sing
Bar
along.
on June 23rd, not January.
23rd, yes.
Way in advance.
Yes.
You can go to the Star Bar on January 23rd. I don't know who's going to be playing at that
No,
time.
I don't
but
know
you
who'll be there at that point.
You could sing Trapper Keeper at that show as well.
It might be inappropriate to do it then, but yes.
But yes, if you wanted to come to the album release party, Star Bar, June 23rd. Once again, let us know what you're working on. Challenge us to the movie game.
That's right.
We'll come to you and we'll beat you.
We promise to beat you.
And we'll see you next month. And we may or may not have a video next month. But we appreciate you listening anyway.
Thanks again.